and then for ourselves as well.
What did you see from Mac this past game when he came in for Trevor?
Yeah, he handled it the right way, and that's the life as a backup. You're always one play away. You hope it's not that situation, but that's the reality of it. As a quarterback, you're probably going in off an injury. In the middle of a drive, in the middle of a game, you got to kind of get yourself into the flow of the game at that point in time. So, I thought Mac did a good job stepping in the huddle. There was a lot of emotion, which is different than normal in those scenarios, but he did a good job of being where you're supposed to be at the right time, kind of letting everybody operate the way they already were within the flow of the game, and then did a good job finishing out the game and kind of getting himself in a rhythm as it went.
It seems like there's a lot of debate on the quarterback slot in general. As somebody who played the position, just what's your take on it, how plays kind of be bang bang, and what quarterbacks can really do in that situation?
Yeah, it's always going to be a little tough because everybody understands what's about to happen, you think, and there's been videos of people with the fake slide and stuff like that, and issues like that. It's always going to be about protecting the quarterback and understand that, and guys protecting themselves as plays like that go. And I don't want to get into that specific play with it, but it's always just going to be a fine line. I guess there's not really – I don't think you take out the ability for the quarterback to slide, but at the same time, are we making sure we're putting everybody in the best possible position to play and make the best decisions as it goes?
Is there any, I don't know, like release, not the right word, but like it's going to be Mac the rest of the way, so you don't have to worry about is Trevor playing this week? You know what I mean? Like what you've got going the rest of the way.
Yeah, I think you can always try to engineer the game plan to best fit that player's skill set. And the quarterback, obviously, a lot revolves around him. So just understanding the communication throughout the course of the week of, here's our first and second down game plan. What do you think? And Matt giving feedback, providing feedback. We've built a couple plans for him now, so we kind of understand things he does like. So maybe you can expedite that process a little bit more where it's maybe less communication because we've had this 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, whatever it is as it goes. I think from that standpoint of knowing who you're building the game plan for and what he likes and doesn't like against certain things, that can help.
Do you tell him, hey, look, we don't know where you're going to be next year. This is your chance to put some good stuff on tape for wherever you are. You have to audition for a potential starting spot somewhere.
I don't even know that necessarily needs to be said. I think everybody just kind of understands. I think this is, professional football league. Everybody gets that everything you do, your resume is your tape. And so I think everybody approaches it with that mindset. Everybody wants to do the best. And at the same time, I think guys do a great job of when you're in season, it's week to week. You don't ever really pick your head up and think about what's next or what happened. And if you do that, you're going to fall behind. And you can't do that with the game coming up Sunday. So I think a lot of guys just kind of keep that narrow vision, keep that focus, and not much is said about it because I don't think much needs to be said. I think everybody kind of understands what's ahead of us.
Last week, Doug Peterson said that Parker was the guy that really needed to step up with Gabe out. He responded his first career 100-yard game. What did you see from Parker, and how big could he be for you guys down the stretch?
Yeah, he's done a great job. And, it's just kind of the comfort guy in year two. I think the coolest thing is, how he's grown as a receiver outside. He had a lot of wins in third down situations, 2-minute situations where he was one-on-one outside on a corner. Did a great job getting himself open, making plays. We certainly know he's capable of carrying the ball. As a punt returner, you saw that in even New England and things like that. So when he gets in space, he's tough to tackle. But he's done a good job of just winning within the structure of the scheme. The routes we ask, everybody makes routes their own. And so we've kind of honed in on things that we think he does well, that he's very comfortable with, that the quarterbacks are comfortable with him running. So,
what are you guys getting in Josh Reynolds?
It'll be fun to see. Josh obviously has a lot of experience in this league. Josh spent at least 1 year out in L.A. with my brother, so I've always kind of kept an eye on him, known him, have followed his career, just the type of player he is. But I think it's nice to add a experienced veteran receiver that's done a lot in this league. He's got range, he's got size, he's got all those things that the experience that I think you see flourish in a veteran receiver.
A guy with his experience and reductions available this whole year, right?
Yeah, that's true. So anytime you get to add talent to your roster, you're always excited to do that.
What do you have to be able to run the ball to help Mac on Sunday against Jeffrey Simmons and Sweat on the inside, as big as they are, and the running game hasn't been clicking in a couple of weeks? What has to be different for you on Sunday?
Yeah, you always want to do what you can to stay ahead of the sticks. I think that's a big part of it. Runs on 2nd and 10, 2nd and 9, they're not always the most exciting. You may have a productive run that's still setting you up for a 3rd and long situation. So Just being able to mix and match of when we're trying to run the ball, making sure we're creating ideal looks, whether it's just matchups or the numbers in the box, or staying in those manageable situations is always key to being able to do that. It's not an easy group to run on. It's a very good defensive line, particularly on the inside, and they've always done a very good job stopping the run, just personnel. And then you add in the new scheme with Coach Wilson, and they make it really hard on you. But the game script is a big part of that too. Short and sweet. Thanks, guys.
What does the future look like for them the rest of this season?
Bright future. Yeah, we're going to continue to mix the rotation like we have been. You'll see them both out there, at times, probably by the end of the season. We get 5 games left, and so we're going to continue to mix that position. From Mason particularly, saw a guy using his hands really well, got off a couple of blocks, made some plays. A little bit of rust, it's been a little bit since he's been out there, but trending in the right direction. Had a good week of practice so far yesterday, and then walked through today. He was into it, so I'm encouraged, get him back to where he was, and so yeah, he's doing pretty good. Like to see him trend up this game.
What kind of challenges Calvin Ridley?
Speed, elite speed, take the top off defense, huge deep ball threat. We have to protect the deep ball against him. Make him catches. He's going to get his catches. The guy's a really good football player. He's going to get his catches. We're going to try to eliminate as much as we can, but we can't give up the explosives over the top.
How has Will Levis sort of grown, I guess, throughout his time with the Tennessee Titans?
Sure. Huge arm. He can make all the throws. That's the thing. And then you're seeing him. We played him last year, and then his movement in and around and getting out of the pocket. He's making some plays with his legs, and he's extending. It's first year. Now it's towards the end of the year. He's going through a new offensive system, and his arm talent is impressive. It really is. It's really impressive, and we've got to do a good job of mixing some things up in our coverages and staying tight on the receivers and like we talked about, protect the deep ball because he could throw it as far as he wants.
You talked about last week how you wanted to change up some personnel during the game. What did you see from that, and how do you sort of adjust moving forward?
Yeah, thought our guys did a good job handling it. We did a couple of different personnel groups that we had out there. We got bigger, we put 5 down a couple of times, and but we've got to continue to rotate that stuff. We can't just sit in one grouping the whole time. Thought our guys did a pretty good job, managing those things, making some plays. Thought our run defense in the first half particularly was a lot better. A couple of the pop that wish they wouldn't have, but yeah, they did a good job. And then we just got to continue the wrinkle, change it up a few coverages, things like that, and then calling it differently too.
How has Ventrell progressed this season after getting in there early and sort of being thrown into a role he might not have been ready for?
Yeah, I think he's done a good job. Really, he's a contact player, and that's what you really like. He's run, hit. He's that type, and he does not slow down. The contact speed is fantastic. And he's where I've seen his growth in coverage. He's doing a better job in coverage, and sometimes that takes a little time. For a young player, but have seen him get better every single game, every single day. You can see he's confident when he goes out on the field. Not, can I play at this level? He knows he can, and just continue that growth. He's a good player, and he'll play in this league for a long time.
If Tyson can't go, how does that change your corner rotation?
Kind of like we had at the beginning of the year. We got Trey, You got Buster, you'll have Darb, you know, and then we'll be able to, you know, continue that rotation with those three guys. That's probably what you'll have out there. You know, and we're going to change a few coverage things, you know, to do some things with if and even when Tyson's there. So just change a few coverage things this game, mix it up the look type-wise. So that'll help as well.
Did you say anything to Jarian at all after the ejection?
Didn't see him. And to be honest, like, I didn't see it happen live, and was on the other side when that all happened. And so it was just, you know, a wall of bodies that, you know, and went back, obviously watched and everything like that. But I didn't see what he did or, you know, live when that happened for him to get ejected.
Has it changed by any way your defense this year by not being able to have Darnell sort of play that, you know, mix and match role? I know he does it some now, but in the beginning of the year he used him more as a nickel, go out at safety. Now he seems to be a little bit more stagnant at safety. How has that changed your defense?
We've changed a few things, just more personnel-wise. You know, we had a plan in the beginning of the year that these were the spots that we thought that these guys were going to play, and with some early injuries, it kind of changed some things around. This is a position he's played his entire career, so, and I think he's doing it at a very high level. You're seeing him make a lot of plays in the quarterback manipulation things, show one high, you know, move around and those type of things. He does really well. Really, I think he's been having a pretty good season, you know, and so his ability to play other positions is what makes him special. You know, he can play safety, he can play the nickel position, and he's a good pressure player, a good tackler. So all of those things, he's done a good job. And so, yeah, I mean, there's been some things that we've had to massage through the season, but I think he's settled in a role that he's playing at a pretty high level right now.
What is the way you coach, or most defensive coaches, if you know the quarterback slide?
Sure, that's obviously a hot topic, right? And so, you know, as we talk about the quarterback, a lot of times is if we can make a form tackle, that's the kind of tackle we want to make, you know. And then, you know, when the quarterback is running and he goes get into the slide, you know, as we have an aiming point that we want, and if that aiming point then drops, then we try to jump over the top of them, so we don't, you know, we don't want the penalty. Like, that's the extra yards on the thing, and make sure. Sometimes it's tricky, sometimes the fake slide, and so that's why we try to form tackle it first, and then if he does fake, hey, I'm gonna take that shot and then go over the top if he goes and slides down. So it's something that, you know, we're gonna continue to coach, and obviously in this situation, I think it's something that, you know, we need to revisit, you know, and make sure that we don't have something like that happen, because, you know, obviously you don't want that to happen, and also the penalty yards on top of everything that happens too. You know, that's a big 15-yard penalty is a big. It could, you know, put you in point situations, you know, and obviously you don't want it to happen to our guy. But if we're just coaching this particular play and taking Jacksonville out of it and just talking about, you know, how to coach the thing, then yeah, we need to eliminate the hit to the head and go over the top.
I would assume, like, not. The main thing is don't leave your feet.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, and it gets to a point where, you know, as if the form tackle part of it is, you know, when you're wrapping and trying to clamp a guy, you know, and not leave your feet, that's the important thing. If, you know, particularly on the quarterback is, you know, and that's part of the, you know, the fake slide. You know, you want to be able to come in and wrap them up and get them to the ground.
What kind of year is Josh having as a pass rusher? It seems like sacks obviously aren't where they were last year, but pressure and everything else is still pretty good.
Yeah, he's affecting the quarterback. He's still rushing the way, you know, you're seeing a little bit more power out of him. I think that's the difference in the 2 years. You're seeing a little bit more power. He's a little bit bigger, using his, you know, going through the guy instead of so much around him. You know, and then he's still doing a good job in the pass rush games and things like that. So his effects are there. It's just the production and, you know, getting them down is, you know, and he's working on it. It's not anything like we're stressing out or anything about it, you know, because he is affecting the passer.
Sacks are just one of those things that can vary year to year, right? Because of all the things that go into how one happens.
Yeah, and it's getting them down when you hear the opportunity to get them down. Like, that's the big, you know, missing one could be the difference between 9 or 10, and you have a double-digit sack or a single. Man, I could have had them down there. So getting them down and the opportunities where you do have them, have a chance to do it. Like, that's the big thing too. And so we practiced, this tackle the quarterback, just kind of like we're talking about.
And he's knocking on the door of a franchise sack record. Do you ever take that into account as you kind of look at situations and things like that?
Yeah, one game at a time, one rush at a time type deal, So, all right, appreciate you guys. Have a good day.